Oh, it's a good cup of tea, actually. I never drink tea. The PO approval process is going to change, and it's going to be a nightmare. So basically, we're one of all the countries globally were being audited. Nobody was following the DOA PO approval process in Oracle. And we understand the reasons for that. Where we implemented the PRF, so it was done correctly and outside of Oracle. So what will happen now is everyone will have to forward the emails on instead of the PRF.
Sorry, Paul, I didn't get it.
Yeah. I know. I was expecting everyone to fall off the chair. So basically, you've got Germany. So let me go here.
Yes.
So you have Germany. They're approving all their purchase orders themselves.
Okay.
So they don't have PRFs, they have nothing. Okay, Gabe's approved a few of these. Basically, Nikolai is raising his POs.
Yeah.
And he's approved 16 of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what will happen now is Ronnie will raise a PO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will go to me.
Yeah.
Then to Rafas. Then to Mark. Then to Waleed. Instead of just approving, you'll forward. Then to Waleed. I still don't think this is going to work, but this is how they're telling me it is. Then forward from Waleed to Sentin. Sentin forwards to Lisa. Lisa forwards to Carsten. Carsten forwards to Gabe. Gabe forwards to Carl.
That will take time, yeah.
It's going to take time.
Wow.
So that's why here we monitor the PO approval time. And they're usually quite quick because it's only being approved over our region. If we go to Egypt, then you'll see a couple of days where there's never any reason for that.
Yeah.
But certainly with the UAE, this is going to go. You sometimes get one because I don't approve, or Wally doesn't approve, or Mark doesn't approve, and it gets stuck in the system. So I expect this to be going up to 5, 6, 7, 10 days.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is what it is, and that will be communicated shortly. And there's a few other differences in relation to the DOA as well, which will be announced, I believe, next week or the week after. So PO approval time, again, it's a good little monitor just to see how quickly POs have been approved. We then have the open PO average days, so that's when it was created to when it was received. So if you look at Saudi, it's a lot higher because
Crossfire.
No, not Crossfire. Let me just go on to here. Let's wait for that one to open. Wrong one. So this is published, but I use this to close out all the old historical POs. So I'm just waiting for it. We used to have millions here worth and get to 2021, which we're slowly getting there. But I've closed all the other countries out. I've just done Chile and Costa Rica, Puerto Rico. So in relation to that question, 224, 151, they have POs which are open from 2019, which are related to rental. So it's an average number of days. So their days are going to be a lot longer. So basically, the higher this number is the higher is the number of POs they have open. So if we go to this one here, if we go to UK, that should be quite a high one as well, I think. Yeah, that's 154 days. So it should always be in fairly low averages that people are keeping the POs open on time. Closing the POs on time. So again, it's weighted against the value. So that's how those two are done. PO aging report. Does everyone know what these? You've seen all of these before, yeah? Yeah. Okay, so then you have your PO aging, the value of POs open, past promise dates, and then what's been received for that month. Then we do the on-time delivery and non-conformances. Then I've added unique suppliers, number of invoices posted, and then invoice value posted. So that is always going to be different than what's been received here. And you can see, you got 220. So you got a mixture there of, let's do a quick calculation, 499, 699, 719,000 for PO in February. 719,000 were for PO posted, of invoices posted, 1.9, so an additional 1.2 million of invoices. So it could be suppliers that don't have or that don't require a purchase order. That's how we get to that. And then the cycle time is how long it takes to post and pay. Then Oracle utilization. Again, if you look at all of these, I think it's only, Singapore's quite good actually, I think. You look at Egypt, well, they're never really used by procurement, but they're finishing anyway. You look at your catalogue here, so 83% of all non-equipment POs are catalogue, which is great. Quite high in Singapore. Saudi, it's still towards the non-catalogue. Malaysia, no catalog. They've started using catalogue. So again, you can see the data from that. So from a reporting point, you want to keep this as 0, and then utilize the catalogue as much as possible. That's the ideal scenario. Then we have the number of POs which are late, so raised after the invoice date. So you have created date and approved date, and then the value. POs required as per the DOA, and then POs raised not required, which again, that's not a big issue. If we're raising more POs, not a big problem. Anyone have any questions on any of those KPIs?
Yes.
Good.
So, how come? What do you mean? For the invoices, you don't need a PO when it comes to like this 1.9 million as a.
Okay, good question. So, at the moment, every supplier that's set up in the system on the questionnaire form as category segment 2 and segment 3, which again, depending on the product or service, we change. So as per the DOA, and again, this has just been modified, depending as to what that supplier is set up as, it's whether we raise an invoice or a purchase order. Okay, so again, for all FGI, that's obviously, it's all PO, which is what we do anyway. So there are some services or some suppliers that won't require a PO. So at the moment, this is what the corporate team referencing as to what it should be. This is what it's getting changed to. So I put this proposal forward in July last year. I think it got signed off last week. So it will be communicated that any supplier that's set up in this category will require a PO or invoice. So that's why it's in some instances, for example,
it's like the ones where we have a contract, right? There will not be no PO.
Sometimes, but there are other instances, for example, where let me find one. I think it may fall under this. Let me just check. So let me see. Okay, for my MEPS steel report, I think that might fall under. Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Well, last year we raised a PO, and this year I said don't raise a PO, we don't need it. Okay, so as long as you're getting and they're usually a one-off service. So and people can argue as to whether it should be a PO, whether it shouldn't be a PO. But the biggest change will be labour. Where at the moment a lot of it is invoice. Where we're going to change all labour to PO. So does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions?
So the number of late POs, Paul, is if a PO is needed and we get the invoice, right?
So the late POs is we had 100 for Saudi. Number of late POs created is 1, and value is 1. It's not really 1. It was 0, but I put 1. We go here. Invoice date 1st of February.
PO approved.
We raised a PO on the 8th of February. So someone has ordered this from the supplier. Not raised a purchase order. And said, bring it, I'll send you the PO next week. So someone has approved a purchase without correct approval. You then have approved date is 8 and approved value is 9. So if we then go to here, one, two, three, four. Okay. So all of these, and this is why I usually go off this one. So you've got your invoice date. Your creation date is before the invoice date. However, it's been approved. So this one here, Wash Time Centre, is this one. So this one will always fall into this one.
Yes, of course.
But 10th of February, so the PO was raised before, but only approved after. So that's, you could have short shipments and other things. So there is usually a justification for that. But it doesn't. You can't pick up the first approved date out of Oracle. So unfortunately, corporate actually picked this one up. But that's why I've included this. Because, like I say, you could, like for this one, that's a nightmare. The invoice date. So that's been stuck in the system for years. And then someone's amended the quantities or whatever. Nearly 15 months after. So it's been stuck there as an open PO, and like I say, no one's done anything with it. So that's late purchase orders.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
So Paul, how do we calculate all these numbers? Like, do we get the data from Power BI itself, or
Oracle?
Yeah. So I've made that easy for you. Don't worry. It's just so how that works now. You go into the Oracle. At the end of each month, for each of your countries. You can go. We'll do the UAE again. So on the 1st of April, actually you can put the 31st of March. You then go page 1. PO approval time. So go to approved data. So first one. 1.05, and I'll give you the template to put that info in. Okay. In fact, let me just see if I can find the template.
All right.
So then you go UAE. You have to do it for just the month period for approved because we're just reporting on February. So then you go 1.05 time taken to approve, 1.05. Then open PO average days. You can then go to the open data.
So approved date needs to be only for that month?
Correct, yes. Because we're so okay. So good question. Didn't explain that. So approve. So for this, you're reporting. In fact, I'm going to ask the question to you guys. Whoever. So the answer will be. In fact, I won't give you the answer. You tell me what time frame they should be calculated in. So open PO approval is that specific for the month. Open PO average. What do you think that will be?
Till year end.
From Jan, for the year.
So with open, you can go back as it's all open POs. Okay, so you can keep. You don't really have to change that. So based on this, you can see the UAE. I've got POs open to 2021. So you don't really have to change. You could change it if you wanted. If you really wanted, you could. But you just have to make that to the end of the month.
Okay.
Okay. Don't put it into April because then you're taking into. That's why if you could do it on the 1st, 2nd of April, you will then get the correct data. If you put it on, if you're running the report on the 5th of April, and you put on the 5th of April on the sheet, you would then be getting open data in April. We're looking to the end of March.
End of March, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry. So this one, open PO average days, will be as far back as you can go to the end of the month you're accounting in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Similar to 78.3. Okay, it's changed because people have closed POs. That's why it has to be done as close to the end of, and I don't always do it, which is why I'm asking you guys to do it. Open PO average days. If you're doing the report 10 days after month end, POs could have been closed and you're not getting the correct data.
Yeah.
Okay, so the open PO average days is shot down massively because the UAE went through a big exercise of closing POs out. Okay?
Yeah.
Then I'll jump to this one. PO value received. What do you think that is, the time frame?
The month itself.
Yeah, I think that's 2 to Saeed. Simon, did you get one? 1 to Simon. And Ronnie, it's still to score. So yeah, it's for the month. So again, you have the month here.
Yeah.
And how this is broken down, so again with the aging report open, if I go back to open, you can click on, or you have that information here. So you've got equipment, non-equipment, equipment, non-equipment, and then you can click on intercompany here.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Then received, you go to receive data. You can then go into company 277, into company 277, equipment. You can do it that way as well. Equipment 222, 222, and then non-equipment 220, 220. Okay.
All right.
Then we have on-time delivery. Okay, so we'll go to past promised. Actually, I'll keep on past promised. This is a little trickier because the past promised, how's that time frame captured? Any answers?
I'm thinking.
Okay, so you have to go to the open full data.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the file.
Yeah.
In fact, you can do it and you can filter it. Let me just redo it.
Do we do promise date minus the?
So we'll do intercompany. That's easy. So if we were doing the end of March, data in 7 days' time, we'll go, hang on, let's look at this. There's nothing past the 31st of March because the promise date
April.
and need by date is after the 31st of March, so nothing is late. Intercompany. Yeah?
Yeah.
Agree?
Yes. Yes.
You do. I was waiting for Simon and Ronnie. Ronnie, Simon?
I'm just trying to process it.
I know, no problem. So if I pretend it's the 1st of April, I've put in the open dates to the end of March. So we're looking to see what's late.
Yeah.
So intercompany, your PO, created 21st. The promise date's the 5th of April. The 5th of April is after this date. We're looking to anything from this date before that date.
Yeah.
So for that calculation here,
Mhm.
intercompany would be 0.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Makes sense.
Still be 0.
Yeah.
If we were then doing it for the end of April, thank you,
Yeah.
and this was still here,
It's
then that would be late.
We would
All
calculate that. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So then next one you do supplier, and we'll do equipment.
Okay.
So there's a few more there. So for that, what I do is I download it.
Okay.
Export the.
So
Okay.
Paul, here
Yeah.
I'm just doing the PO count for the past promise date, or are we also doing the days the PO is late?
The value, I guess.
It's the value.
Mm,
Yeah. So here I put these are all dollar value in thousands.
all right.
Okay. So do we have that Excel? No, not yet. It's disappeared. So this is where you have to play around a little bit with the information. Does anyone else's computer crash when they download an Excel
Yeah.
file?
It does.
Yeah, sometimes.
When it downloads, when I search for mail.
So we do that. So then, let's pretend it's the 31st of March. Okay. So these are both, in fact, they're all, looking at them quickly, they're all the same. So it's the 31st of March. We don't need April. We don't need May, because they're not late.
Yeah.
So it's brought to that. Obviously, with it being the end of April, there's a good chance that's going to disappear, because I think that's arrived, hasn't it?
Yeah, today.
Okay. And then these other ones are likely. But so for, like I say, for the purpose of this, we will say they're late. You then just have to ignore that one, because that total is taken into account everything.
Yeah.
Okay, because we've just filtered. So you would then say 100,000. So that for equipment, 100,000 is late. Okay.
Yeah.
What I suggest you do.
Just a question, Paul, here. So, like the Belhassa 6 contract, this is buyback. So, do we consider this also as?
It's. I know it's buyback. However, it's data in Oracle.
Okay.
So, if and again, the more you get, the more you look at this, the more you'll go, oh, hang on, you're the guys raising this. In theory, if it's buyback, we've probably got the equipment already.
Yes, yeah. So it should be.
So it should. Someone should. And again, you've put 3 days in there because we have the equipment, and it's just time for it to process through the system.
Yeah.
So it's more than likely that will go.
Yeah.
By the end of March.
March. Yeah.
But again, just for the purpose of the exercise, I'm saying it is the 1st of April.
Okay. Yeah.
And not April Fool's Day. So let's say 2nd of April. So this, if they were still open on the 2nd of April, then they're past the promise date.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ronnie, still there?
Yes, Paul. Listening.
You okay?
Yeah.
And it could be, Paul, that they actually received the equipment, but they did not close the PO. They don't do the housekeeping.
Correct. And that's what happens. So even when you look at this, I've closed millions here.
Yeah.
I've just done it with France,
Yeah.
where they had something like 6 million going back to 2000.
Yeah.
Here, all of these are still showing 0 because I've just
Yeah.
closed all of those out.
Yeah.
And then it gives a false figure in terms of open POs.
Yeah.
So in theory, Austria have promised me their POs back. So even if you look here, need by date 20th of 20. So these are relatively small values now compared to what they were, but they shouldn't be as high as they are because people aren't managing the POs. So so in answer to that, they would be there. You may even look at this and go, okay, a few days before, and ask, because you do monitor your POs anyway, and ask them are they late and not being late. So you might then go, right, okay, Simon, I'm going to call the yard. Has that been received physically? Yeah, close it off. I need it closing off before the end of the month. So in fact, when you are doing these reports, I've just thought, don't do it on the 1st or the 2nd. Maybe do it on the 3rd, because obviously Oracle takes a little bit of time. Power BI takes a bit of time to refresh.
Okay.
But then,
the deadline, Paul, by when do you expect us to?
It doesn't take long to do. If you're doing 2 countries each, it's very, very simple to do. What I suggest you do there is then save that file, and we'll put some folders so you can put in past UAE, past promise date, March. So if we then need to look at any of the data, we can open the file and it's there.
On which file it's based, yeah.
I will send you the links on when we have a call tomorrow. I'll send you the links as to where we should save it. So again, for equipment, do the same. For non-equipment, you can do the same.
Yeah.
Export it.
Yeah.
Paul, I'm just looking at this example. Like here, the auto rent car rental. There is no promise date.
Exactly.
There isn't, and that's why I said sometimes you have to manipulate the data.
Yeah.
So let me just do this one quickly.
But I mean, with this one, how would you work?
I will show you. Good question, but I will show you. So first of all, you freeze, and what's that? So there's always a need by date. So it's need by date or promise date, because with iProcurement you can't always put in a promise date. So in this instance, we go to open 2022. We're talking end of March. So take April, take June out, and then you're left with what's late. So again, I expect a lot of these to be closed beforehand. Okay, because the amount of POs being raised through iProcurement is quite significant. So the guys are usually quite good at closing them out. But I would say is that Omar still doesn't understand, I don't think, the need by date. And in his defence, it's still not entirely clear. I did speak to Lisa, and I said that does need to be clarified within the DOA again. So because you look at the UK, they put ridiculous things in. So that needs to be clarified, especially if we want to monitor supply performance correctly.
I mean here, Paul, looking at what Omar read, there are a lot of transports. So I don't know. So the need by date is always equal to the creation date,
which is going to be impossible.
Yeah.
Because it's never going to be received in the system, so it's always going to show as late.
But the weird ones is the Meta hardware where
Yeah, it's before the creation.
it's before the creation.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at too.
And what people do sometimes, and so in Germany, the need by date is the date the business require it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I think for procurement it needs to be clarified, because again, that's the only way you can monitor performance. So again, by the end of, so even if we take March out of the equation, then it reduces it massively. You've reminded me of something there. So my name comes up each month.
Oh, I already closed this one.
It's still showing us. Just double check. Is it still showing us open?
Yeah, it's closed. I double checked it today as well.
When did you close it?
Actually, we changed the account string. It was closed a month ago, and then we did a receipt reversal and changed the account string because finance had to book it on the system. So I changed the account string, and then yesterday I receipted it again.
Okay, so only yesterday.
Yeah.
We can see your password, Paul.
What was it?
No.
I guessed Ronnie's the other day, actually.
No.
So. That's stuck. Leave it. Okay, so as we filtered that then for just March, sorry, for February, and again you'll see here there's obviously an issue there. There's billy brushes. I had a good example for one in the UK where it said snow shovels. They were ordered in October. And I looked last week, I said, do you still need snow shovels now? It's March. So for that should be closed out. Obviously, us not being here, that's still open. Yeah. So if we add in the ones for March, then I expect a lot of these to disappear by the first week of, or the first few days in April. Certainly, these ones. Then again, you don't know with Omar.
But a question. I would like Paul just to go back to the Afra one, the auto rent car. So the car has been received and it's been driven. The people are driving it now. Line 25 and
25.
No, not 25.
This one was an auto rent.
38, yeah.
Okay, so if that's the case, no one has received it in the system.
So she can receive it without an invoice?
We must have had a handover document or an invoice or something if someone has the car.
Yeah. Maybe a handover document, not an invoice,
So that, and again, it's the same with anything really.
Yeah.
Look at that one. the short shipped one. You know, are they going to deliver the other one? We don't know, but
What's the code?
I have no idea. But you know, with something like that,
Yeah.
they you know, they just need to keep an eye on it. But I do expect these to close out because they are relatively good.
Yeah.
So even if you look here past promise dates,
Yeah.
when you look at, we're saying that, you look at the aging reports,
Yeah.
and what's left is usually quite. It was 15 there, and 14 was late. So that was open, 15, and 14 was late. 37 open, 37 late.
Yeah.
So that could be a mixture of incorrect need-by dates,
Yeah.
or they are late.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to jump off this call. I thought I'd fly through this, but obviously there's lots of good questions. So what I suggest we do is tomorrow we can start a little bit earlier, and we can go through it. I'll finish in half an hour tomorrow. So so far, are we okay up to this point?
Yes, Paul.
Yeah. So, and then in the morning, I will then create some. In fact, I'll do it now. I will create folders in here where you can store. Once you've downloaded these, you can then save it as UAE, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then we know where you're holding that info. So we will stop there, and then for tomorrow we will start on this.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
We have access on this already, Paul? No.
You have all of this?
Yeah, for the KPI.
No, I don't think we have.
KPI.
No, you don't know. I've just done. This is just off an Excel sheet. However,
Okay.
I will give you that sheet to complete,
Okay.
and then I can then very quickly transfer it into the other sheet,
Oh, I see.
and then it populates into here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so okay up to here.
Yes, Paul.
Yeah. So
All
tomorrow morning we'll start on this. Non-conformance is always going to be 0. We haven't had a non-conformance for 5 years, so don't worry about that one. But I will go through these ones tomorrow, and then these ones which are fairly straightforward. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry I couldn't finish that, but I have to go on to another call.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.